Number four on our 9 point conversion copywriting checklist is the idea that people, humans, are fascinated by surprising details. And this again is a very fundamental human truth. And we are drawn to new information, we're drawn to counterintuitive information, interesting information. We love gossip, for example, right? So the question now becomes is, well, how does a copywriter inject this into the story that we are crafting, and why does it matter? So how do we inject it? Let's talk about that first. So imagine if you are selling a room air purifier. Well, there are lots of interesting details that you can collect about air purification, allergens, how many people have purifiers, if you're trying to create a contrast between the fact that most people don't. We can talk about outside air quality versus indoor air quality. You can talk about interesting facts about the technology involved, like something really interesting that it would be counterintuitive, right? So you would go to Google. The best way to kind of identify interesting details is to go to Google and do a search for a problem or a product category or a symptom and see what kind of results show up, and also read newspaper articles and research articles, and you'll find like some really interesting counterintuitive stats, like, did you know 4% of people that 4% of people that have an air purifier actually have an air purifier that has a certain type of protection against certain types of allergens. That could be an interesting detail. Now, of course, you're trying to cherry pick details that relate to your product, but it's also true that you don't have to necessarily pick a detail that perfectly relates to your product. So it's okay to be creative and to actually inject an interesting statistic that's just interesting by itself, even though it might be adjacent to your product. So don't try to make it too mechanical by saying it has to be about room air purifiers and it has to be about air quality. It could be, but it could be about something that is about air quality but not related to an air purifier, for example. I want to share with you a very interesting statistic that I came across that I thought was fascinating. So, did you know that the average consumer who's having hearing loss waits 7 years before they acknowledge that they need a hearing aid? And this is a well known statistic, and it's very fascinating because it's a great marketing hook. Because if I am a potential buyer who is aware of the fact that I need a new hearing aid and I'm on a website, there is a strong force inside me that wants to live in denial. And by kind of seeing a statistic like this, it's actually having a very good effect on me, because it tells me that, do you really want to suffer 7 years? Do you want to be a statistic and suffer 7 years before you recognize you need a hearing aid, you can hear better and improve your life? And just by stating it in that implied fashion, you're actually getting the person to move forward. Now, in that case, it's of course uses a marketing hook, but it doesn't have to be used as a marketing hook. And I want to draw this broad distinction here. We are injecting interesting details in our product description simply to give an energy boost to the reader. Let me explain to you what that means. So, you see, the thing is that as a copywriter, I'm writing long form copy, and it expends a lot of energy of the reader. It's very difficult to, especially if you're not looking for something and if you get stumbled on a page and you've got four paragraphs of information, it takes a lot of energy to actually process it, understand it, pay attention to it. So what we're doing is we're at strategic locations in the copy. We're interesting, like injecting really interesting little tidbits of information. And what these do is they break the pattern, and the reader sees this interesting stat and is suddenly engrossed by it, and it gives them an energy boost. There's something interesting about, I hope you guys got an energy boost when I shared this counterintuitive fact that people wait 7 years to get a hearing aid, right? There's something about interesting details that just give a burst of energy. And what happens then is that burst of energy we are using to get them to continue reading our sales pitch. Remember, the goal of a copywriter is not to get the person to convert. That, of course, is the ultimate goal. But my immediate objective is to get them to read my entire sales pitch, because I know statistically that if someone gets to the bottom of my sales pitch, there's a much higher likelihood, like massively higher likelihood, that they'll buy. So my primary objective is to get them to read the whole page, and using interesting details at strategic locations at break off points in my copy is a way for me to ensure that most people read the whole pitch. I hope this helps, and I hope you're able to use this in your own copywriting.